Hello, friends. Professor Ajmer Singh Malik is here again after discussing the conceptual aspects of corporate social responsibilities, particularly the meaning, definitions, approaches, and distinction between the new corporate social responsibility and the old concept of corporate social responsibility. We are taking up this talk ahead and let's discuss about the history, especially the history, a little bit in brief, that what is the status, or we say that how it has evolved in Indian context. So, first of all, we start from the ancient period, how we consider the how we consider uh, the corporate social responsibility in India. Uh, it is unfair if we don't discuss about the ancient scripts relating to the relationship of the business and the customers or the people at large or the society, we can say. That ancient scripts, especially the Vedas, as you know, that those prescribe dharma for the individuals and for the society. And I will say that Vedas prescribe dharma for individuals and for the society. And according to the Vedas, it is expected that that an individual must manage his economic affairs in a socially responsible manner. Means there should not be deceptions, there should not be exploitations, there should not be any kind of the fraud. For example, Atharva Veda, it states one should procure wealth with 100 hands and distribute it with 1000 hands. That is donation. That is considered a very important ethical practice, and that must be followed by the individual, particularly those who have the wealth with them. Yajurveda, that also suggests that one should enjoy riches with detachment. Do not cling to them because riches belong to the public, they are not yours alone. Means that there must be a detachment from the wealth. Don't cling to it because whatever this material wealth is there, that is for whole of the society, not for an individual, because that is derived from natural resources available within the country or available to the people. The another Veda, that is Rig Veda, that mentions the need for the wealthy to plant trees and to build tanks for the community, as it would bring them glory in the field, eh, as it would bring them glory in life and beyond. Means whosoever has the wealth or resources to do that, they must plant trees. That is environmental concern is there, and that is to build a tank. That is a facility to be created for whole of the community. And if it is someone is doing like that, that will help in building their social recognition. Almost you will find at that time, the business activities were not complex as it is today, but that kind of the relationship, theoretically, we can say that kind of the relationship, what the business entities nowadays under new concept of corporate social responsibility and old concept, that there is philanthropy, there is concern for there should be concerns for the social and environmental concern must be there. And the third thing is that is building image of a company now, that is the building that is to bring glory in life and beyond, this kind of the social recognition nowadays for the company, and earlier it was for an individual, because the Vedas prescribes dharma for individuals. Not only that one, Kautilya, a philosopher, or I would say Kautilya, known for uh, his Arthashastra, he also emphasized ethical practices and principles while conducting business. Means the ethical concerns must be there, and there must be certain principles to conduct the business. Me, another important thing we can say that there is voluntarity in that. Ethical norms must be followed. And the third is there should be some sort of the principles voluntarily applied, but although it is not stating anything that it may be applied or it may be imposed as guidelines or requirements, social and environmental requirements for the businesses. But this kind of the thinking was there in our past also in India. In the beginning, however, in the beginning of the 20th century, the social responsibility was defined in the form of charity and philanthropy. This is means, and there are so many activities performed by the rich peoples for the welfare of the society. That there are so many examples for that purpose, and there are so many stories of the kings and queens and that testify or that provides evidences that in that that provides a um, instances that not only in the beginning of the 20th century, even before that, this type of the charity and philanthropy uh, were undertaken by the rich people. And but during in the beginning of 20th centuries, many trusts were established, and those were no doubt trust with the support of the industries or the business entities, and they contributed towards the social reforms. And those social reforms in the beginning of the 20th century, again, I'm emphasizing it. It was in the area of rural development, education, and women empowerment. These were the some of the areas or the preferred areas, and those were undertaken by those trusts which were set up with the assistance or with the financial or the funding assistance provided by the industrial industries or the business. Post 1991 period has witnessed extensive industrial growth and business flourished all around the country and like other parts of the world. The second important thing is that the growth of business and the industries that has taken place in private sectors. And the private sector, as stated earlier also in different talks, that there is a tendency to maximize the profit. And as a result of consequent to this market process, the poor people get marginalized. Therefore, a need was felt to streamline the social responsibility efforts, particularly of the private sector, to suit the national needs. The importance of corporate social responsibility, first of all, it discussed in the context of corporate governance reforms. Means it was not CSR because at that time it was a considered philanthropic or voluntary activity. There was a discussion on the corporate governance reforms, how to introduce the reforms in the corporate governance, and in the report of the task force on corporate excellence by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs in year two, in year 2000. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs the Ministry of Corporate Affairs in the Government of India issued the Corporate Social Responsibility Voluntary Guidelines in the year 2009. Means it was discussed in 2000. But since the emphasis almost all over the world, the that CSR was considered as a voluntary activity, and that has to be undertaken. That has to be undertaken by the company or by the corporation or by the business entity itself, and that's why there was no such efforts on the part of the government, but in 2009, it brought out certain guidelines. Again, this was voluntary guidelines. Consequent to these guidelines, CSR policy incorporated care for all stakeholders. First time. I'm emphasizing care for all stakeholders. We discussed about the different stakeholders. Second, ethical functioning. Third, respect for workers' rights and welfare. Fourth, respect for human rights. Fifth, respect for environment and activities to promote social and inclusive development as its core elements. If we summarize all these things, that these are the social and environmental concerns which needs to be attended under the CSR policy according to these voluntary guidelines framed by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs in 2009. The guidelines made a distinction that between the philanthropy and CSR activities. Again, in the beginning of the 20th century, as we discussed, that there was a philanthropy, donation by the industrial houses. But these guidelines made a distinction between the philanthropy and CSR activities and highlighted that the voluntary nature of CSR activities that go beyond any statutory or legal obligations means that this is uh, this is not a philanthropy that it depends upon them. Rather, they must go beyond the statutory or legal obligation. Means they have to do it, and they must do it. It is expected from them ethically as well as in return to the resources utilized, national resources utilized by them. Thereafter, uh, since it was a voluntary effort, the National Voluntary Guidelines of Social, Environmental, and Economic Responsibility were issued in 2011 by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and it asked to adopt nine principles. It suggested nine principles, and it asked to adopt those principles in their working or for relating to in performing the activities relating to the CSR, that is corporate social responsibility. According to these nine principles, that the businesses should that we say that business entities should conduct and govern themselves with ethics. First aspect, that the businesses should be conducted and governed by themselves with ethics. Ethical consideration must be there. They must ensure, the business must ensure transparency and accountability. Number two. Number three, it provides goods and services that are safe and contribute to the sustainability. Means goods and services provided by the business houses that must be safe for the people, and it must contribute to the sustainability of the environment. Fourth, there must be the business must respect the interest of and be responsive towards all stakeholders, especially those who are disadvantaged, vulnerable, and marginalized. Fifth, business must respect and promote human rights. Sixth, it must respect, protect, and make efforts to restore the environment. Seventh, it must engage in influencing public and regulatory policy in responsible manner and support inclusive growth and equitable development. And engage with, ninth, we can say, and engage with and provide value to their customer and consumer in a responsible manner. Means it was an elaboration of 2009 guidelines, how to undertake it. This is at that time, it was in 2009, those were the objectives or the goals which were there in the guidelines. And in how to achieve those goals, that is the process, how to adopt those, that has been provided there in the guidelines issued in 2011. These principles were again not made regulatory. Rather, these principles were retained as as voluntary one, means the regulatory regime of the CSR activities that was not laid down by 2011 guidelines. How the voluntary corporate social responsibility was changed to regulatory regime. It is in actual what happened. The Security Exchange Board of India, we know it, SEBI, it asked the top listed 100 companies to mandatory disclose their CSR activities in business responsibility reports accompanying the annual reports as per the clause 55 of the licensing or of listing agreement, not licensing, listing agreement. What is it? In actual, the companies which are listed with the SEBI under clause 55, they have to submit annual reports. And under annual reports, they have to, naturally, that's relating to their financial activities. And it asked that along with that annual reports, that those 100 companies, 100, those were the big companies, they were asked uh, to to report the CSR activities, business responsible in the business responsibility reports, how they are behaving, whether they are socially concerned or environmentally concerned, or we say ethically behaving. That is the nine principles which were suggested there in the 2011 guidelines and stated in implicit manner in 2009. And the SEBI found in it, why SEBI has undertaken this kind of the course of action. It was because the SEBI found it in a larger public interest, and public disclosure is an effort to integrate social responsibility with the corporate governance. It is in actually integration of efforts. It should not be considered as a separate activities. And as the new corporate social responsibility concept has emphasized this aspect, it was in that direction. As a result of that, what happened? That this kind of effort to integrate social responsibility and to provide for the CSR activities in business responsibility reports, that the Companies Act that was amended, and a section 135 of the Companies Act 2013 that was created, which is amended in the which was amended in the year 2019. So this is how that voluntarity of the CSR or the corporate social responsibility was changed to a regulatory regime. So up to now, so in this talk, we'll talk about up to this one. In the next talk, we will discuss about the provision made in the section 135 of the Companies Act and its amendment in the year 2019. Till then, thank you very much. And if you want any kind of the clarifications or any kind of academic support, please write to me. Thank you very much. Thank you.